BDPA is a national organization with a diverse membership of professionals and students at all levels in the fields of information technology, computer science, and related STEM fields.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Rush Street. I'm your host, Harold Lee Rush, and I've got a great conversation to share with you today. But first, let me ask you a couple of questions and see if you answer yes to them. You don't have to tell me. Just answer to yourself. Are you a mid-career professional between 7 and 15 years in your profession? Do you feel you've hit a roadblock in your career? Are you not making the money you want to make? Well, if you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then you definitely want to keep your ear right here, because I want to introduce you to a gentleman who can give you the answers that you need for your career. I want to introduce you to Mr. Eric Horn. He is an author, a speaker, a trainer, a business advisor, and a seminar leader. How are you, Mr. Horn?
I'm doing well, Mr. Rush. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding, and please call me Harold.
Harold.
Okay. And can I call you Eric?
Sure. No problem at all.
Okay. Now, you do a presentation. The presentation is called what now?
It's called The 6 Pillars to Avoiding a Mid-Career Crisis. And the gist
that.
of it is, thank you so much, because it kind of ties into, if some people, they would have a midlife crisis. You have a lot of
midlife
people
crisis,
that,
right?
They would have a mid-career crisis. And long story short, what that means is if you've been working in your current profession and you get to the point where you have lost a little bit of the passion that you have for the current career that you're in, or if you're looking to transition, the talk that I have will give you 6 easy steps that you can take to either validate if you still will want to remain in that current field, or if you wanted to be honest with yourself and then make the transition to something else. Because I've come across and coached a lot of people who they hate what they're doing. Of course, they do it for the money. And even though you have to pay bills and you have to make sure that your family is well taken care for, if you cry every day before you go into the office, that may not be the particular job that you would want to be in. And so
wow,
many
that's
people
not
go
funny,
through that.
but it's funny. I know there are people like that. They're headed for the office and dreading every second the closer they get.
Exactly.
Now, you're very much focused on equipping college graduates, mid-level professionals, and business owners in particular. What got you focused in the direction that you're going in?
About 8 years ago, I got laid off from my very first job out of college, and it was an eye-opener. The reason why I got laid off is just the politics and how businesses shift to sustain themselves. And sometimes when a CEO makes a decision to cut costs, you have a lot of people that lose their jobs. And unfortunately, the Monday before Thanksgiving in 2008, I was pulled into an office and they gave me the spiel that, sorry, Eric, we're going to have to let you go, yada, 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 yada. And I really didn't know what my next move was. And one of the things that I did discover was I didn't have simple things in place. For example, I didn't have my resume updated, or I really had a weak network, meaning I knew a lot of people, but I didn't really have the strong relationships where any event something did happen, I can reach out to someone to say, hey, do you have any available opportunities in your company or whatever have you. So it was just simple things like that. It was a wake-up call. And then it got to a point where I love helping people, and I'm the type of individual where if you come to me with a business problem or a career problem, I'm going to give you the same advice that I would take myself. Three separate people, they came to me and asked for career advice on how to get a job. All three got the job, and the really key thing about it was one person who got their new job was making $80,000. Another person who got a job was making $90,000, and then the final person, which was the straw that broke the camel's back, was they were making a job. They were making $100,000 a year. So I knew for a fact that this is something that I could monetize into a business. And then also it was a passion, managing careers and being strategic with people's businesses. It brings me a lot of joy knowing that what I can contribute to them and what they can contribute also can help, take their business or their career to the next level. So that's me getting laid off put me in the position where I love helping people sustain their careers.
Now, you say you were working for that company for how long?
I was working for that company for 4 years, and every year I received a promotion. So in my mind, I'm really, being a
you just
high
knew you had that.
Yeah.
It would seem so.
And the biggest mistake that I made was I got comfortable.
Yeah. Now, as the owner of Eric B. Horn, Inc., you provide career coaching, consulting, and training to your clients. If, let's say that I was interested in becoming a client, what are some of the first things that you would want to know about me to help me out?
The first thing is where do you want to go? Because and kind of determine if you even know what your next move may be. I look at it like a chess game. A chess game, you have to be at least 3 moves ahead before you even make your next initial move. So instead of me taking the approach of thinking, okay, I know what's best for you, meet me halfway and give me an understanding of, what you want to do. Or the biggest question that really triggers a lot of answers for people, what's your passion? Everyone has some sort of passion. They may not have clearly defined what that passion is, but what do you love to do? Because if you and I have a discussion and I ask you what your passion is, and if you know what it is, a floodgate of information is going to start to come out. And what I do is take that floodgate of information and then figure out how we can incorporate that into what you currently are doing that will eventually fold into what you eventually will want to do. I don't sell people dreams. I don't do that. I'm very, very straightforward. I give it to you the way you need to hear it, because if I'm not rude or anything, but a lot of people, when I go through a strategy session or a coaching session, the biggest piece that they appreciate would be my honesty, because at the end of the day, I don't want to feed you a bunch of garbage, knowing that your career is very important to you, because your career not only provides for you as an individual, but there's no telling if you have children, if you have a spouse, because it's a ripple effect, and a lot of times if I can help the client align what their passions are with what they can monetize off of, then it gets to the point where the client is more engaging. It gets to a point where the client, I usually give clients homework. I give them maybe 3 to 5 days to get it done. But if we touch into their passion, they get it done in 2 days. I've had one client, she got it done in 2 hours because she knew her passion excited her and just tried to align her excitement with what she can really do, where the marketplace will pay her what she deserves. So, yeah, it's not, and it's no cookie cutter. My thing is, what do you specifically want to do? If you don't know, ask questions to get to that core, because once that core has been what's the word I want to use? The core has been revealed, so to speak. It makes both of our jobs a lot easier, because I have to do work on my end, but I definitely hold the client accountable for the work that they need to do, because it's, stuff doesn't happen overnight. I tell people the only thing that happens overnight is another day, and they take that into consideration, knowing that, okay, I need to put in some work that goes beyond, okay, I've updated my resume or I've updated my cover letter, because that's what everyone does. My thing is, what is your passion, or what do you really want to do with your career? And instead of beating around the bush on doing stuff that, just pays the bills, let's have a career. It's not just about a job. We all know the job is just over broke. Let's focus on your careers, so you can focus on your career, so, you have the external fulfillment because you're getting paid, but the biggest driver is how you feel internally based off of what you're doing in your career, and that's the key thing for me.
Let me ask you a question. Do you run across people who are driven by fears, but they don't realize that they're afraid?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't yet, but if I did come across a client who had that type of mindset, it gets to a point where most people don't know, fear is an acronym standing for false evidence appearing real.
Appearing real.
So is it a fear of failure, or is it a fear of success? Because you have a lot of people out there who say, I want to use a tangible example. I want to make $150,000 a year, or I want to make $250,000 a year. So what are you fearful for? Because a lot of people, that fear of failure, there's ways to get past that by taking baby steps and having tangible results. Because if there's a staircase and you can't fully see the staircase all the way up, but if you take one step and you're okay, and you can take another step and you're okay, you keep following that pattern, eventually you're going to get to where you would need to. However, individuals who are afraid of success, let me be transparent.
Sabotage their own success sometimes?
Yeah, because it keeps them safe. It keeps them in a safe space. And I'm not saying that this is for everyone, but I've seen people who would sabotage themselves and still complain that they're not progressing. It's like they're in a holding pattern where, if $1 million is right across the street and you see the $1 million and there's a walkway to get to that $1 million, but if you're still standing on the other side of the street, it gets to a point where I have to question, is this what you really want? And the only person that can answer that question is the actual individual. And it's okay if what you say isn't what you really want, but don't waste your time, your effort, and your energy. Get to the point where you would want to be comfortable, or you want to be real with yourself and say, I'm complacent, because at least you're being honest with yourself. Don't say one thing and then you're not, and then your actions aren't proving that. But you have a lot of people, because some people like to complain. They are professional complainers where they're not getting ahead. The other people are doing better than them, but they're not putting in the time and the effort and the energy to get to the level that they will want to get to. I mean, as humans, we are our worst enemy. We are our biggest hater, because, if you want something, go get it. That's just like with the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. People complicate things. If you want to, be successful, go ahead and do it. Not saying you're not going to have any challenges, and usually the challenges are designed by God to make you a better individual, or he's blocking something that you don't need to go down because, hey, you say you want to make a $500,000, but is it ethical? Is it to the point where you can so it's it's so many ways that people can be successful, especially with technology. Now, with technology, it takes a lot of the guesswork out. People need to be very best friends with Google, because 20 years ago, if we needed information, we would have to get up, put our clothes on, go to the library, find the books. But now you can get all of the information that you ever need by, you don't even need a computer now. You can just type it on your phone. So,
yeah.
you know,
well, I call
it's
it,
like
Google is like our, well, when I was growing up, it was our encyclopedia. And also for me, I discovered the University of YouTube, because there's a lot of information that good information that we can get. And between the two of them, you're right, there is no excuse not to be able to get the information you need.
Even if I'll take it a step further, because what people, I just had a discussion with a good friend about this a couple of days ago. What people also lack doing is, let's say if Google didn't exist, or, you know, these other search engines, pick up the phone and call somebody and have a discussion based off of what you would want to do in your career. They don't necessarily have to be in the same industry, but just from a professional standpoint, so if I come to you and say, well, you know, I'm really don't want to be in IT anymore, or whatever have you, at least it's just have a discussion, so you don't feel alone, and two, you have something or some sort of takeaway that you can think about, and then it'll either spark more ideas for you to, you know, figure out what your next move may be, or it at least say you're not alone, because that's another thing that a lot of people go through in their careers. They feel like they are by themselves. I deal with business challenges all the time, and one of the things that I had to do to mature myself as a business owner is to open up and discuss some of my business challenges with other business owners, and remove the fact that, okay, somebody's going to take my idea, because my thing would be, we're designed to communicate and collaborate with everyone. But, you know, with me holding so much information in over the years, you know, a 2-year problem that I was dealing with was solved by one conversation by a good mentor. And it wasn't rocket science. It was just, yeah. And I thought about it. I'm like, that was over. I boiled over this issue for 2 years by my own doing. I chose to say, I'm not going to, I chose to, you know, keep it inside, as opposed to saying, let me be mature enough to talk to someone else, and the problem was resolved. And that was the wake-up call for me to say, all right, let me be more of a mature business owner and not just make it about me. That's when the real success started to come into play.
Eric Horn of Eric B. Horn, Inc. You're going to be doing a presentation for BDPA Chicago in June, I believe.
Yes.
And what is it that you, or just tell me a couple of things that you really want people to go away with? Besides the 6 pillars of avoiding the mid-career crisis, are there some other things that you want them to be able to get from your presentation?
Yeah, one of the key things is it's okay to not like where you currently are in your career. You know, some people, they feel guilty based off of that, especially if they're making a lot of money. And that's the thing that keeps people in the job that they hate day in and day out, because they feel like they have handcuffs on them, and not, you know, make the decision to say, okay, I don't like where I'm at, but let me start to take the necessary steps at least to figure out where I would want to go. That doesn't take any type of discussion with your current boss, or that doesn't take anything away from your current job. You just having a real conversation with yourself, saying, okay, if I'm not happy here, where do I want to go? And that question alone, it can stir up a lot of fear. It can stir up a lot of anxiety. It can stir up a lot of emotion, because usually people's initial response is, well, I don't know. And it's okay if you don't know at that given moment, but it's not okay if you don't take the necessary steps to figure it out. You know, using your brain power to figure out where you want to go in life it's not a crime. And there are more people that go through this process than people would want to talk about, especially if it really touches on people who are in high-level positions, such as a VP or a senior vice president, because when you're at that level, so much is expected out of you, because you are a forward-facing executive in a high-level organization, and it can cause a lot of ripple effects even in the industry, not only in the company, but in the particular industry, if you wanted to say, it's time for me to move somewhere else, you know? So definitely, you know, if people aren't alone when it comes to, you know, wanting to go somewhere else. And the other piece would be just hopefully it will spark more conversations with the other members, and then also it sparks more conversation, and it can spark more collaboration when it comes to the members of BDPA, because at the end of the day, having the right conversation with the right person can help you get out of the career crisis that you would be in. So, and just have fun. You know, my presentations, I want people to laugh. I want people to engage. I want people to feel comfortable if they would feel like they are in a career crisis. I don't want people to close up even more. No, my presentations aren't like that, because I want people to the biggest takeaway, like I said, is to, you know, have fun, but also think about, is some of the stuff that Eric talked about, is it relevant in my career? And if it is relevant in my career, what's the next move? So,
all right. Well, as we close out here, I got a question that I've never asked this question before.
Uh-oh.
How can I tell whether I have a career or whether I just have a job?
It's based off how you feel. You know, a sense of accomplishment is huge, and it's how you feel, because if you are just doing the same thing every single day, and you're bored out of your mind, and you start to lose interest in what you're doing, you have a job. A career is you have a strong sense of accomplishment. Not saying that throughout your career you're not going to have any challenges, you're not going to have any problems. That's life, because nothing is perfect. And that's one of the things I wanted to put in the forefront. However, with a career, you're always growing, you're always striving. It also gets to a point where you start to empower not only yourself, but other people around you on your team or in your industry. It's like you live it, you breathe it, it's just an overall feeling. And anyone that's thriving in their career, they'll tell you the same thing. But if someone is deteriorating when it comes to just their job, it will start to show. Sometimes having just a job can affect your health also, because once again, if you are sick and tired and you're stressing out, you know, stress is a killer, and you don't enjoy what you're doing. You start to avoid, you know, coming to work. You start to just, you're not progressing. And because, like I said, with a job, it's just, okay, I'm doing this just to pay the bills, but you know, you weren't designed just to pay the bills. You weren't designed to do that. You were designed to do more. You were given a gift in life, or multiple gifts in life, that you can apply in your career to help not only yourself, but the biggest piece is to help other individuals. So it always based off of a feeling.
Oh, that was great. All right, Eric B. Horn, tell me if I'm listening to this, but I can't get to that particular presentation. How can I get in touch with you? How can I find out more?
To find out more, you can go to my website, which is ericbhorn.com, all one word. Or if you are on social media, you can follow me at Eric B. Horn. And you can also follow me on Instagram with the same handle. So it's all Eric B. Horn across the board. I wanted to be very, very consistent based off of what social media platform that the listener prefers. So I try
and
to
that's Eric E as in brilliant, right?
B as in brilliant, B as in billionaire, God, from my mouth to God's ears. So.
All right. Well, thank you. I would love to be able to have another conversation with you in the future, so we'll have to work on that, too, because you definitely have the information that I think, as you say, college graduates, mid-level professionals, and business owners can definitely get value from what you're sharing. So, again, thank you, Eric B. Horn at ericbhorn.com.
The BDPA Chicago chapter board and members are actively engaged in serving the community through outreach and charting the future of the IT industry. The BDPA Chicago chapter's vision is to be known as the leading technology organization in Chicago that increases the future pipeline of talent within our community.